Welcome back to Sahara TV. My name is Rudolf Okonkwo. Happy Easter to you all. This is our Skype segment when we give you the chance to join us and express your opinion on some of the issues of concern today. We asked you on our Facebook page if you think that Nigeria is becoming religious, too religious, to the point that it's having a lot of impact in the lives of our people. And we also wanted to discuss the issue of amnesty to Boko Haram members. It continues to be a concern in Nigeria. Some people for that, some against that. The other topic that we wanted to talk about is the latest reports on the Kano attack, the Boko Haram attack in Kano at the bus park. Now, before we go to that, we have our Skype callers, many of them from one person from Tunisia, one from America, and one from Abuja. Before we go to that, we want to also mention that this morning there's this breaking news that our First Lady, Patience Jonathan, is again in the hospital somewhere in Europe. So we'll find a way to get all this discussion together to happen in this segment. Once again, you can join us via Skype, and but right now we have three people with us. We have Cliff in Tunisia. Cliff, welcome to Sahara TV.
You're welcome, bro.
Also, we have George Elijah in Texas. George is the editor of the Nigerian Standard. George, welcome to Sahara TV.
My pleasure, my pleasure.
Ose Best is in Abuja. Ose, welcome to Sahara TV.
It's a great pleasure being here.
All right, so let's start with Easter. Today is Easter, and a lot of our people are home on vacation. And we asked this question. We know that a lot of, in the country, Nigeria, there are a lot of churches and a lot of religious organizations, Islam, everything. So we asked this question on our Facebook page and on our Twitter. Do you think Nigerians are too religious? Is there anything like being too religious? And what has that done to us as a people? Both positive and negative. Let me start with you, Cliff, in Tunisia. Cliff.
Yeah, thanks for having me. I think the question is very, very clear. Because when you look at things on the ground in the country, Nigeria, you will see a lot of things that are happening concerning the religious practicing. Yes, but the government has to put some impact on it. Concerning this religious, we don't. Some people saying it's a political game, but I see it as a sign of division to that country. I'm not seeing a Nigerian progressing with this kind of arts, of churches and those things. If you want to attack the government, you attack the government direct, not the poor ones. So that is my view that I'm seeing there. Nigeria is going very, very down in terms of. In the view of Boko Haram and all the atrocities that are happening in northern states.
All right, let me go to you, George. You're in Texas.
Speaking, yeah, absolutely.
So what is your take on this?
My take on this is that, to start with, I believe Nigeria is a very religious nation. Nigeria has the highest number of pastors in the world. They are from Nigeria, the highest number of pastors. And some of the pastors, I'm talking about clerics, imams, the rest of them in the world, from Nigeria. And it's kind of weighed me down to realize that after so much sermons are being preached, and the rate of religiosity in Nigeria had actually made a lot of Nigerians to become very resilient to difficulties, to challenges, to economic crisis. Facing the nation, facing Nigeria, as it were. That's why so many Nigerians are actually got to adapt to the kind of style what actually is happening over there, because they have got no option based on the sermons. They are having sermons of hope that tomorrow is going to be better. That today might be down. Definitely there will be light at the end of the tunnel tomorrow. That it's not lost. That's Nigeria. Nigerians are very hopeful because of the level of messages they've been hearing from the pulpit and from the mosque as well. But I must also add here that the negative side is that you realize that there are some from the Christian side there are some prosperity preachers that kind of preaches prosperity all over the place, and an average man who knows that his income could not afford what's kind of his lifestyle They want to do everything to please the society because society is the problem. Society is crazy. Society cherishes, lavishing money without knowing where the source of money comes from. So they such messages of prosperity pushes people to the extreme. They involve so many untoward things to just get money, and then they do things anyhow. A lot of crime and illegality in the country, and that's why crime is very high. And also, let me say on the Muslim side, I'll say a lot of good teachers in Muslim, but the negative side is that there's some fanatic Muslim teachers. They teach Muslim religions so that we go extreme, go very high. That that's why Boko Haram sees some. That's why I see happening some people, some extremists who actually believe in the messages they are hearing. They strongly believe that they could act on that. They could do things. They could begin to go out of their way to implement things that they wouldn't do because of the messages they are hearing. So I strongly blame the leaders, the church leaders for the kind of religious we'll be having in Nigeria because it's a religious country. That's the truth.
All right, George. Let me go to Ose. You are in Abuja. How is the mood in Abuja now that tomorrow is Easter? And what is your take on our question of the day?
Well, Abuja is fine. Abuja is cool. A lot of persons are staying indoors because of the security situation. A lot of persons are being scared of the Boko Haram. So at the moment, Abuja is okay. Abuja is fine. Just that the weather is a little bit on the hot side. I'm fine here.
Okay, so what is your take on our question? Do you have this sense that Nigerians are too religious, and is it good for Nigeria or is it bad? Has it reflected on the character of the nation, on the behavior of the people who run the country or the citizens?
Well, as George rightly said, Nigeria, not even just Nigeria alone, Africa in general, is home to lots of religion. We Nigerians and Africans, we are very, very religious. That's no longer news. And it's very, very unfortunate that we oftentimes are not realistic. We do cover a lot of things with religion, and that's why corruption is thriving in our society. We have a situation where the pastors or the imams they focus on prosperity. They're looking at the Christianity or Islamic religion from prosperity point of view, and it has gone a long way to wreak havoc into our society. And as we have right now, we have a situation wherein a lot of people go to church because they believe that if they go to church, they'll be blessed. They don't have this idea that they go to church for the reason of making heaven. Well, personally, I will advocate a change of mentality for our religious leader. They should begin to preach what is written in the holy books and not just centering on prosperity alone. But when they center on prosperity, it's likely that it will also have an effect. I mean, it will have a negative effect on our society. I mean, bringing about an increase in corruption.
Now, so let me ask you, we saw some pictures from Abuja yesterday of reenactment of the crucifixion of Jesus Christ, people carrying the cross and people following them about. Did you see that?
Well, I saw it the television as you do. I think that was at Mitama, at the Catholic Church in Mitama.
Okay, so let me ask you, the newspapers also reported that most politicians, both the president and everybody, seem to be telling the country that people should emulate Christ. And I'm thinking maybe that is the picture that people understand, carry the cross like Christ to go and be crucified. Do they think that they should also do the kind of thing that Christ did, like take a wipe and go and chase out people who are money changers? That is, confront the bad people. Is that part of the teaching that people hear when they hear emulate Christ?
Well, it's very unfortunate that our political leaders and our religious leaders will focus on that aspect alone. They will not talk about the aspect. They will not talk about other aspect of Christ's life, wherein he abhorred sin and corruption. Very, very unfortunate. That's how we have. That's the situation right now. Very, very unfortunate that Christianity, as it is tilting towards that direction. But I don't think it's a good one for our country. I don't think it's a positive one. I think it's better that our leaders, whether political or religious leaders, they focus on those things as Christ actually preached. Christ talked about holiness without which no man can see the Lord. I think if all these things if our leaders actually, if they focus on these aspects, I think the society and Nigeria as a whole will move towards the positive direction.
All right, Cliff, are you still with us?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm with you.
Were you in Tunisia when the revolution took place?
Yes, of course. I'm in Tunisia.
Okay. So can you tell us what changed from the time that before the revolution and what you have now?
Every citizen in Tunisia, no matter the age, no matter your work, can tell you that the situation in Tunisia is very, very worst.
What changed? What made it worse?
Because of the former regime of Ben Ali,
Yeah.
the former president of Tunis, for the revolution that the Tunisians, the politicians use it as a political view to profit what they have in Tunisia. All workers that works in government, everybody seems to be looking for his pockets, because as of this moment, you're supposed to know that Tunisia has no government as of now.
So, okay.
So they are not.
All right. So that means that in general, it wasn't even good for the people in Tunisia.
They are regretting on why they took that step to remove their former president.
All right. Okay. Let me go to you, George. You are here in America, and can you tell our viewers who are all over the world, especially those in Nigeria, the difference between the way Easter is celebrated in Nigeria or in Africa and the way they celebrate it here in America?
I must tell you that in Africa or in Nigeria or any part of Africa, the manner in which Easter is celebrated is not that the Christians there they actually go out as it were, like the work you said in my time. They go out there, they try to carry out the significance. They try to carry out what Christ represents, but they don't. They are far their heart. They don't imbibe the culture what Christ really represents. There's no impact of what Christ represents in their lifestyle, in their behavior, and in their attitude, both as a people and as a nation, as a continent, as it were in Africa. But unlike the West, with the West, they love God, because America is a nation of God. It's God's own country, and everybody on their own, they pray unto God. They have a very good lifestyle. Everybody thinks good, plans good, everybody moves forward, and then you strongly believe that. Christians in America believe strongly that Christ actually came to die for the people and he has risen the third day, and they live a very, very good lifestyle. They don't, unlike we in Africa, back in Africa, where we have people in mind, relate to people badly, and way to put that nation. Americans think about, okay, how can we move this nation forward? An average American, a Christian American, how can we move this nation forward? How can we positively think about America, thinking good about America, think about the fellow Americans, about the fellow nationals who are in America? And that's not what it represents. And so they imbibe the culture of Christ in them, and they have a very straightforward life. They have an open life, open door policy, very humble, very easily to relate with. That's kind of lifestyle they live, the life of Christ, the life of humility. Christ-led. That's America.
All right. So let me come back to you, Ose. And my question now is about Boko Haram and the idea of granting them amnesty. There's division in the country over that should be done. You live in Abuja. What do you feel? Do you feel that might help, or do you think it won't? And how do you feel? How do you feel secured where you are in Abuja?
Well, I would say that 99.9% of Nigerians are against amnesty to Boko Haram. From my own perspective, from my own point of view, from the question I've asked people, because there's this question that people normally ask, what is it that the Boko Haram, what are they fighting for? And apart from that again, they have not come up they don't have a body, they don't have a concrete leadership, that is being seen. Unlike the Niger Delta militants, where we know that, okay, fine, they have some warhead. We've heard of a lot of them, Asari, Tokubo and the likes. Okay, we know that these are those that are representing the Niger Delta militants. Unlike Boko Haram, we don't know those that are representing them. We only see them on YouTube. And as Mr. President rightly said, we cannot grant amnesty to ghosts.
Now, wait. Let me ask you, say, do you think that they can come out to say, I am Boko Haram and this is negotiate with me, when you have the JTF trying to get them and kill them? Don't you think there may be a legitimate reason why they can't come out and say, okay, this is me, I'm Boko Haram, come and negotiate with me?
Yes, I think they can come out because if you remember the Niger Delta issue then, they came out, we had JTF too in the creeks, we had JTF in the Niger Delta region, and but we just had a situation where these guys came out openly and they came into the government and the issue was resolved. So I think they can still come out if they want to. The point here is that they don't want to come out, they don't want to open up, they want to stay mysterious, and then they just want to continue to destroy innocent life and properties. So I don't think the idea of granting amnesty to the Boko Haram is a good one. It's not a good one in my own perspective. And I think all Nigerians also believe that it's not the best thing to grant amnesty to the Boko Haram.
So what's the solution? Is it the military action that the government is implementing? Do you think it's working? And do you think it can eventually...
Yes, to a large extent, it's working. I remember personally, I was one of those coppers who served in Bauchi State in the year 20. I finished my NYC in Bauchi State in the year 2011. I was part of the coppers who conducted the election. And I never did believe then that we were attacked during the election violence that took place. And then when I was in Bauchi, I remember that there was a prison attack then at the prison in Bauchi then. Well, I must say that right now, as we have right now, the level of violence did not have greatly reduced. And this is, apart from the major factor, which is God, this is also primarily as a result of the deployment of troops, the JTF troops to northern Nigeria by the federal government. I must say that you don't negotiate with terrorists. I don't see anywhere in the world where terrorists have been negotiated with. So I think that the use of military might is the best solution.
All right. All right. Thank you so much. George, what do you think? Do you think that amnesty is the way to go? Or...
To start with, I strongly believe that amnesty, being a general pardon for offences, especially political offences against the government, is often granted before any trial or conviction. And amnesty is also, in the area of law, is an act of forgiveness for past offences, especially to a class of offences as a whole. I strongly believe that there's a difference between the Niger Delta fight and strong difference, demarcation between Niger Delta fight and the Boko Haram fight. The Niger Delta fight, they were fighting ideological fight. They were fighting on the Niger Delta oil and how they have been shortchanged, how the region has been shortchanged for years by past administration in Nigeria. That was the fight they are fighting. It was ideological fight, globally recognized or worldwide. And then Boko Haram, to me, they are fighting a criminal fight. They are strongly, like Ose said, they are terrorists. They are fighting terrorist fight. Terrorists are guerrilla, they are warfare. They are guerrilla people that can fight anyhow. They can fight from anywhere, from any angle, from anywhere. You cannot predict them. And they are faceless all over the world. They only operate through contact cells worldwide, all over. So I strongly feel that by granting amnesty to Boko Haram or terrorists, that means that would be the strongest mistake, blunder President Goodluck Jonathan is going to make if he does that. That means you now put Nigeria now be under the siege of terrorism. That means the government, any administration that comes to power is under the clause of terrorism. That means it's also, again, apart from that, it has further encouraged other criminal groups also to gather together, form contact cells, maybe with Al Qaeda, through Mali, through Northern African connection, and said, look, Pakistan. They said, look, they can also come up and with a terrorism act in Nigeria and put Nigeria into confusion by because they know that they're very sure that amnesty will be given to them, which is uncalled for, which is an abnormal situation, which is something contrary to the principles of law, just and equity worldwide. And granting amnesty to Nigerian militants, it is justifiable. Even the United Nations Charter is justifiable because they are fighting regional fight, they are fighting emancipation fight, legal fight. They came out and said this was what they are fighting for all over the world. Everybody had them. It was logical, it was reasonable. It could be argued, and it could be argued anywhere in the world. That's why recently they won a battle against Shell. Even the Ogoni people, even in World Cup. That's why they could. Today we know what the court judgment gave to Nigerian government to appease the community, Ogoni community, because we are fighting legal fight. They had their strength from United Nations law, United Nations Charter, African Charter, globally. So I strongly feel that there's no reason, there's no justification. It will be an abomination. It will be something incredible, unbelievable for the Nigerian government to put herself right into under the clause of terrorism fully globally now by having amnesty. Parley with amnesty. We don't parley with your enemies. Terrorists are enemies. You don't parley with your enemies. You stay far away from your enemies because enemy can fight you anyhow. You know what I'm saying? They can fight anyhow. That's what they represent. That's why we all know how Osama bin Laden died. After Osama bin Laden died, till now, the cells are still there in all over the world. The contact cells of Al Qaeda, they are still causing trouble all over the world. We know what happens now. That's why there's no need to. You don't die with the enemy. So by Jonathan granting amnesty to Boko Haram is telling the whole world that right now I'm dining with the enemies, I'm eating with the enemies, no matter the pressure. Of course, it's not impossible that it might be under pressure from some politicians from the north, man pressure on him to grant amnesty to Boko Haram. He should make them know that, look, he's the president for God's sake, God placed him there. Righteousness, the Bible says righteousness exalts a nation. Sin is a reproach. When a good man is in power, God leads the nation. When a bad man is in power, you have a crisis. So he should turn to God, he should look inwards, ask God for guidance, go to guide him, divine guidance, and for God to lead him through so that he don't make any mistake. Of course, there have been rulers in the Bible who have ruled the nations. They rule well in the Bible. There are bad rulers as well in the Bible. How did they rule? He is a Christian. Jonathan is a Christian. God is a Christian. He reads the Bible. I should look through the books of the Bible and ask God to guide him through so that he will not make any mistake. You know, so he shouldn't think that granting amnesty to the terrorists, it's going to free the nation. No, it's going to put generation unborn Nigerians into terrorism bondage by granting amnesty because it will be a precedent that will follow.
Okay, George, let me get Cliff involved in this. Cliff, you're watching from Tunisia. No. What do you think about amnesty for Boko Haram members?
Just like my colleague George said, Mr. President should come out boldly and tell us who is Boko Haram. We are hearing of Boko Haram, but up to now we don't know about Boko Haram. You as a Sahara, you know very well about the situation of Algeria 15 years ago. Everybody knows about Algeria bombing. Every day. But today, where is Algeria? They control everything. The situation now. The situation in Algeria about their security. At least Algeria is warden number third. Yes, number third in Africa in terms of security. Algeria has a border with Libya. Everybody knows what happened in Libya. The guns in Libya now is very, very common. Why are we not seeing both in Tunisia? Because we are working. I'm working Tunisia and Algeria. So we are not seeing something like that here in Tunisia and Algeria. They are telling us all the ammunitions in Libya now shift to Nigeria using as a bombing thing. Mr. President should tell us what is happening. Who is this Boko Haram? He's coming out to tell us that he want to grant amnesty to Boko Haram. Let him tell us, just open up and tell us that he has negotiated with the terrorists that he has in his cabinet. Because for us here in Tunisia, in our Nigerian Union, we deliberated about it. In our Nigerian Union, who is this Boko Haram? Where are they coming from? Who is their voice? What are they using to speak with the government? How Mr. President coming out openly saying that he's negotiating?
Okay, Cliff, I think we are losing you a little bit. We have like 3 minutes left. I was just told that we have 3 minutes left.
Hello.
So yeah, Cliff, can you hear me?
Yeah, I'm hearing you.
Okay.
Very clear.
Okay. All right. So we have 3 minutes left, and I want to get through your opinion, all of you, on this story that the wife of the president is again in the hospital somewhere in Europe. Are you concerned? Should you be concerned? And what does that say about our country? I mean, this is something that started last year and it continues. And it doesn't appear as if anything is changing in terms of the demands of the people, saying that we should do everything we can to make sure that our government officials are treated at home when they are sick. Let me start with you, Ose, in Abuja. What are you hearing? Is it in any newspaper in Nigeria, and are you concerned about it?
Well, the news is all over the place, and is a very great cause of concern. I must say that this is not painting the image of Nigeria in a positive way. It's not a plus for Nigeria because we have a lot of health institutions in our country. But it's very unfortunate that these health institutions that we have in our country are in deplorable states. And I don't think it's a very, very good one. How can we have a facility that cannot be treated in Nigeria when we have these so-called tertiary institutions in the country?
Yeah.
I don't think it's a very good one. It's not the best. It's not the best.
Okay, sorry, I have to stop you there. We just have a few seconds left. Let me hear from George. George, 30 seconds, please.
I'll tell you that corruption is the major reason why our health institutions in Nigeria, none of them is working. Corruption. That's why there's no reason why all these our leaders, all of them, they travel to United States of America, travel to UK, travel all over the world. They know how medical institutions they work perfectly well. Why is that in Nigeria they're not replacing, they're replicating the same thing in Nigeria because of corruption?
All right. All right, George,
yes.
Thank you. Cliff, just one word, one sentence, please.
I believe our Minister of Health has a question to be answered. You should answer that question. Why our first lady traveled outside the country for the treatment? I believe the Minister of Health has the question to answer.
All right. Thank you so much. I want to thank our Skype callers, Cliff in Tunisia, George in Texas, and Ose in Abuja. When we come back, we are going to bring you Keeping It Real and the rest of our programming. Thank you so much for watching.
Pleasure.
Thank you.
Thank you.